What's up, fight fans? And we are back at it with another edition here at Round One Sports TV. I am your host, Edwin, and we have an amazing show for you here tonight. We have the one and only trainer John Scully. How you doing, John? Welcome to the show, Iceman.
Yes,
And
sir.
we
I'm
also
good.
have Bowie.
I
Go ahead.
appreciate you having me. That's all.
Thank you. I'm a little fast today. And as always, we have Jose Rivera from Chosen One Production with us, joining us today. Jose, how are you doing today?
I am great. I am great. Can't wait to get it on.
Hey, so Jose, thank you for setting up this interview. And we're gonna talk with John Scully here, Team Arthur Beterbiev, and we're gonna get his insight on what he saw in the fight. I want to touch on that and much more. Jose, you had something you would like to say before we get the show started?
No, I want John to introduce himself, to let the people know who he is, and don't leave out any of your accolades from the amateurs, from the pros, everything you did before becoming a trainer and helping the young men the way you do.
Right. Well, I mean, I was an amateur boxer in the 1980s in New England. I won the New England Golden Gloves a few times, and I went to the finals of the Nationals twice. I won a few national tournaments. I beat some really good guys, to be honest, some of the best in the world. I was an Olympic trials bronze medalist in 1988, and then I turned professional, and I fought pro for 13 years. I fought Michael Nunn on the ESPN in a very good fight, 12 rounds. I fought for the world championship, the IBF world title in Germany in 1996 with Henry Moski. And I was also, while I was fighting, I was training amateurs, and I had a really good amateur team. We won about, I think I counted it one time, I think it was like 52 championships between the four kids that I had. They won like national championships. I mean, they did some really good stuff. And then when I stopped boxing as a professional, I started training fighters, and I trained some good ones. I trained some, some decent ones. I trained some world champions. Jose Antonio Rivera was the guy I trained to the world championship when he beat Terra Garcia in Worcester, which was an amazing, unbelievable night. My first and only time in a police-led caravan after the fight through the streets. It was my first and only time, yeah. And what do they call that? Police escort. Yeah.
Police escort.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first and only time. And now I'm with Arthur Beterbiev, and we're coming off a big victory.
Wow, that's a pretty impressive boxing background.
Yeah, no. That's why. I mean, he still left out a couple of things he did in '87 and '88, but still, it's still, he has them accolades. I just wanted the people to know who the Iceman is, and why here he is where he is today. And like you said, he actually trained my brother to a world title in front of 13,000 people at the DCU Center. It was an amazing night, a Don King Productions show. So, he's had, the wealth of training a couple of good fighters to world titles. And here we are today. Before you ask him questions on the Beterbiev fight, I have one thing I got to ask Scully, and he posted a video where I believe at 3 a.m. he is inside a car with I'm seeing this on a Saturday at like noontime. And here you are over there overseas at 3 in the morning in a car with Arthur Beterbiev sitting in front of you. But I'm curious, when you hit the camera to the right, there was someone with the red and white. Was that Turkey Al-Sheikh in the front?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, that was
all I saw was red and white. That's why I'm asking.
Right. No, that was one of the guys on our team from Saudi Arabia that was kind of like chaperoning us and bringing us around and showing us where to go. And Yeah, that was our guy.
Okay. And how was it 3 a.m. inside that vehicle? You guys roaming around, free, just, being undisputed at the moment. I mean, what's that feeling like?
It was surreal kind of. And you got to understand Arthur, the type of guy he is. Like he didn't say much. It wasn't like, yeah, we did it. Yeah, yeah, this and that. Like, he's not that type of guy. He doesn't brag. He doesn't, make a big deal. Like, I think the people around him make a bigger deal about stuff than he does. You know what I mean? And, it's kind of funny to me because, if it was me, I'd be jittery and I'd be, moving around but he was just sitting there. He was just relaxed. And he actually, I always noticed with him, he was praying most of the car ride. You can see his lips move constantly. And he prays like a good part of his day. like it's really amazing to see. Like, we'll be in the car or we'll be in the ring, wherever he is. And you can see his lips moving and he's praying.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, John, a lot of people want to, talk about the fight, and it's good that you brought up your boxing credentials and stuff because it speaks to what you saw that night, and we're gonna get to that. Also, as well, like I've heard a lot of athletes, including myself, and by the way, I'm from Worcester. Ayala Boys Club kid. Yeah, Carlos Rivero trained me. I won the Golden Gloves in Worcester. Rocky
Garcia, Carlos Garcia.
Yeah, his brother actually, we and my brother stayed with Bobby. Long story, bunch of kids from the gym. And so when you talk about him being in the car and everything, and I've heard a lot of athletes talk about winning a championship or something, and then them talking later in their career and saying, I wish I would have known that those were the glory days, or knew how to like experience the moment or embrace it. Sometimes we do something special that we don't even have the time to even enjoy it with so many things going on around us, and I wish I could like win things and say, in this moment I'll win this and I'll feel a certain way, but it always comes out another way. So but let's get right to it. Let's talk about this fight. There was a lot of controversy, a lot of things being said back and forth. I saw the fight. I would like to hear what you saw throughout the rounds, leading into the fight in the locker room. Did you guys feel like you guys were ready? They were talking about the knee. Was everything like, or was there like nervous energy? There was any doubt? Did the whole time, or does he always have like a stone face?
Right. Yeah. He to be honest, like he never. You ever see when a guy will get a fight and he'll go, I trained harder for this fight than I ever trained in my life, right? And I always say to that, well, why didn't you train that hard for your other fights? Like, why did you wait? You know what I mean?
Right.
But Arthur,
why'd you wait to this one?
Yeah, and Arthur's not that guy. He could fight your grandmother, and he's going to train like a demon, and he's going to be so focused. It's unbelievable. So he did the same thing that he did for every fight. It was not like, oh, we got to step it up. We got to do something really unusual for this fight. It was almost like just another day at the office. And, I think that's not to say he was lackadaisical. It's to say he's always ready. He's always training hard.
Right.
He doesn't need to fight Dimitri Bivol for you to tell him to train hard.
Right. Exactly. So when you was coming into the first round in the fight, after the first, second round, right around there, how were you feeling? Do you remember that moment? What were you seeing out of like the beginning of the fight? Let's talk about the beginning of the fight and let's see how the fight was playing out. In that moment, the moment like you saw the first and second round go by, what were you guys thinking in the corner? Did you feel like he was doing enough? Or did you feel like at that moment he needed to start stepping on the gas or make adjustments?
Well, the thing with Arthur is he always starts slow, right? When he fought Gavadzik, when he fought Marcus Brown,
Right.
We fought a few guys, and at no time was I worried in those fights, right? Because I
Really? Okay.
knew he's gonna come on. Like his second half is always going to be way more productive than his first half. But with a guy like Dimitri at that level, and everything combined with the stakes that were at stake, right? So I remember around I think it was the fourth or fifth round, and I said, all right, guys, we got to step it up now.
Right. Right.
Like we talk in the corner as kind of a group. There was four of us in the corner. So I just
Right.
said kind of to everybody in general, like, hey guys, all right, it's time to move, man. Let's go.
Yep.
He obviously, he finished much stronger than he started, which was expected. I think that was very much expected.
In the middle part of the rounds, the sixth, seventh, eighth round, right around there is did you feel certain like the fight was starting to slip away, or did you really think that you guys kept your calm and said, like you said, Arthur's gonna come on later in the later rounds and he's gonna, and Demetrius Bivol, he was putting out a pretty good output, and he was staying on the outside. He was working his jab and everything. And I saw that Arthur was having a little bit of trouble, sixth, seventh round getting in. I think he staggered him. It was in the ninth. He really buzzed him. Right. Yeah. And then when I saw that, I was like, okay, I was doing a live, right? I was recording it live, right? And we started getting towards the championship round, like the 10th round. And I started telling people, I said, this is where the fight is going to be determined. The fight's going to be determined in the championship rounds. Now, when you came into the championship round, how were you guys feeling right around the 9th, 10th round? How were you seeing the fight?
Well, I think, I forget what round it was. It was maybe, you might be able to tell me. It was maybe 8th or 9th or 7th. There was one round, there was twice in the fight this happened. Once in the 12th and once earlier, where I thought we had Dimitri. I thought, I remember thinking, we're going to stop him this round. I don't know if it was the 7th or the 8th.
Right.
But I remember my feeling was, we got him. Like, he's showing the signs. We're going to catch him.
Right.
He fought a good fight. I think we both fought our fights. We both fought the fight we wanted to fight. I think Dimitri was very difficult. I think there was times when Arthur had him and then boom, he was gone, like a rabbit, Now, he may have moved a little too much for the judge's liking, like there's a fine line between good defense and running, you know what I mean? And in a championship fight of that magnitude, you've got to, you have to show the judges. Sometimes I tell fighters, you literally have to show them how bad you want to win. You have to let them say, this guy's amazing. Like, this guy's digging. Like Vinny Paz. Vinny Paz, there was no doubt in your mind that man wanted to win because he showed you when it counted. He showed you how bad he wanted to win. And I think Arthur showed a little more. I think Dimitri boxed very well, but it's like he wanted to win the boxing match, but he didn't want to win the fight. He didn't want to go through what he had to do to win the fight. And he said after that, he could feel Arthur's punches because he was blocking some of the punches with his glove, and he said he could feel it through the glove. And you could see his face was banged up pretty bad. So
those are his knuckles. Those are his own knuckles smashing against his face. When he's punching him, his own knuckles were bruising his face.
So, I think both guys fought a good fight. And that's why obviously I think they should do it again. Even though we got the victory.
All right, wait. So that's the magic question right there. So we have, first of all, Carlos Navedo, salud. Nice to see you. You're always saying hello to me and Edwin. Armando Nieves says that it was in the 7th round, what you're talking about. But Bam Bam Boogie is asking, Coach Scully, question, is there an immediate rematch clause with Bivol?
I don't know the details, but I actually got a text message today saying that Eddie Hearn does not want to work with Turkey anymore, and that the idea is to have David Benavidez fight Arthur next.
Okay, so that was the next question. He asked, is it possible for Arthur to step aside Bivol and go for a mega match with Canelo at 175? That would be a great fight with Benavidez.
Yeah, for sure. That's what someone
can,
texted me today. I don't know how accurate it is. I don't know the details about if there was a rematch clause. I think in a case like this, it's kind of odd. Like, even if you don't have one, everybody would want to see it again. I'm sure of it. Like there's no way people wouldn't want to see this again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, my assessment when I was watching the fight, I have I have a live, and I've already given my assessment on what I thought I witnessed. And you speak of other fighters, right? And a fight in particular that comes to mind was when I watched Oscar De La Hoya fight against Felix Trinidad. And Oscar De La Hoya got on his bike on the last 3 rounds and lost that fight when he was winning it. He needed to close the show, and I felt like there were a lot of swing rounds in the beginning half of that fight, and that Arthur definitely showed the judges. And the last impression I felt the judges had was Demetrius almost being stopped. He was on the ropes. He was in a lot of trouble. I mean, if there was a 13th round, he was done. He was done. I felt like, he did his best boxing. I gotta give it to him. And then, did you think at any time in the fight that Arthur ever thought about his 100% knockout ratio, or you think that wasn't something in his head? Did you think that the pressure was on him to try to knock out Demetrius Bivol?
I would say probably not because of the record, but just because of the circumstances. But I don't think Arthur ever thought about the knockout. I'll tell you, like, I've been with Arthur for 8 years, right? Never, not one time ever have we ever been in the gym and talked about knocking somebody out, like trying to knock somebody out. Never. It's never come up, not one time. He would never. He's not that type of guy where he would plan on that. He always plans on going the distance and winning by a decision. He's always trying to perfect his skills and his distance and his, his counter punching and all these type things. He never falls into that trap ever.
Wow.
Right. So he's a natural knockout artist then, because if he lets the fight just play out and he's scoring all these 20 for 20, then he's really special, a lot of people wanted to know, like, they asked in the chat about the rematch and whether or not, because Arthur said if Turki Al-Sheet wanted to see the fight again, I was under the impression that there was none, because, and then I saw that Demetrius Bivol, after the fight, he was requesting it to the fans. So he was basically telling the fans, if you guys want to see this fight again, you guys got to say you want to see the rematch. So those were kind of the clues right there. You see, usually when, a fight is concluded, they talk about the rematch. The one fight that I actually saw that neither fighter said anything about the rematch was Demetrius Bivol against Saul Canelo Alvarez when he lost. Saul had nothing to say about the rematch, but I think that the fight itself, Arthur, he looked great. I had a lot of concerns with the knee. I didn't know if he was being pushed too early because they didn't want to push back the fight again, or that if there was any, and that was my biggest concern coming into the fight, but it looked like it held up. It looked like his performance was great. And, I was going to ask you, in a perfect world, who would he like next? Or is he also talked about vacating the titles and moving up. Is that a possibility?
People have asked me about, cruiserweight, but literally, again, never in the gym has that come up. I've never heard that other than people asking me if he's going to move up. I've never heard it discussed or, nothing. So, he makes, you see, he looks good. He never looks drained when he makes 175. He makes it comfortably. And I don't really know. I mean, and no offense to any of them, but like, I don't even know who the cruiserweight champions are. I don't know any of them. I just
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
So I think between Benavides and Canelo and Bivol, I think there's more than enough great competition to be
Well,
fought.
now, now with
Let me ask this: how about if Morrell beats Benavides?
Yeah,
oh,
that's
come
another
on.
one. Like he's another one in the mix.
No, but definitely David the Monster Benavides now entering the division. It's also spicing things up in the division, and those are two guys that are gonna go at it. David Morrell and David the Monster Benavides. He's 29-0, and David Morrell's got a smaller record with 11-0. But that's a big fight right there, and I could see the winner, fighting, Arthur. Well, I kind of think that the winner was gonna fight either Demetrius Bivol and they were gonna do something else and like try to like spin it, but uh there's nobody. He cleaned out the division. He cleaned out everybody in the yard, all of them. He beat them all. So, well, if he's not gonna move up to the cruiserweight, then I welcome a fight with David the Monster Benavides. That would be an interesting fight, although I would like him to get more fights at the 175 to get acclimated to the division. I feel that his last performance wasn't the best, you know. So with a few more fights, I think that would be a potential mega fight. Now, Saul Canelo Alvarez has already tested the waters at 175. And if Demetrius Bivol beating the guy that beat him, you know, I don't know. And he's even a bigger puncher. I think that Saul's kind of maxed out at 168, and he should, Saul should focus on his own division. But look, I any so no future plans right now. You don't know anything about any future opponents
I
or
mean, my feeling up until today was that it was going to be a rematch. That's what I thought.
All right.
Wow.
One, I almost left this out. This was a question that I was actually waiting to ask you. What are your feelings on the IBF?
In terms of what? Like, what do you mean?
They stripped Arthur for the IBF title.
They did? When?
Yes. Today, this morning. I think it was this morning. Or yes, they made it official. They stripped him if he doesn't fight his
mandatory
number one.
But it's not taken yet. He will get stripped if he doesn't accept the mandatory.
I mean,
or did he get stripped?
They didn't even wait a week.
They announced it this morning that they stripped him. But if you're gonna say,
no,
okay,
I'm asking. I'm not surprised that's Scully, so I don't know.
Yeah, the IBF organization, man, they just move at a different drum, and I know that they're trying to show.
I know that.
Yeah, I know that they're trying to like show that they're cleaning up the sport and keep it official, whatever. And what they're actually trying to do is like teach these boxers that they're not bigger than boxing, that the belts you're at your job. And these are the sanctioning bodies. Some of these guys make contracts or plans to fight other fights and stuff. And the IBF is saying those are not our plans.
Who's the mandatory to that belt?
The mandatory to the IBF belt right now. Hold on. Michael Ephraim.
You know who it is, Scully?
Never heard of him.
German fighter.
I have no idea.
Me neither.
A German fighter. He's the guy that the
thing. You have 4 sanctioned bodies. You can't fight all 4 of their number 1 contenders.
No, you cannot. It is a damn hassle. It looks good around your waist, but boy, is it a pain in the ass to keep. Unless you're Saul Canelo Alvarez. But you know what I'm saying? I'm like these sanctioning bodies. Look, the heavyweight champion won the belt. He said, "I can't get out of this rematch clause with Tyson Fury." The IBF said, "Well, you know what? Those are your plans. We have plans. You're supposed to fight the number 1 contender. He made his way up the ranking. You shouldn't hold up his career. We'll take our belt. You know where it's going to be." And they moved on. And they did the same thing to Saul Canelo Alvarez. They stripped him just recently. And now it's all over the news. I was just, before I came onto this interview right here, I was looking it up. and they were announcing that Demetrius, Arthur hasn't even won the belt, all 4 belts for a week, and they're already stripping him. That was the story this morning. And it's a shame because, when you get superstars, I understand the process, but God, let this man enjoy his victory. Give him an option or try. I don't know exactly, but I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at it. But that is definitely what's being talked about right now on social media, how the IBF is handling their fighters and what they're doing to their fighters and so forth and so forth. And then you have the WBA that's doing away with the super. They're doing away with the super now. And there's just a lot of big changes right now inside of boxing. So things are like funny, but yeah, John. I would, if I were you, I'd investigate that and see what's up. And if you can get us anything back on it, I would like to know because, I got mixed feelings on that. The man didn't even win the belts for a week. Allow him to at least enjoy his accomplishment. It's tough enough. It's hard enough in the sport of boxing just to win one belt, just one. It's not every day that a man or a woman can achieve such greatness. And then all of a sudden, before the week is up, you're threatening to strip them. I don't think it's right. But whatever you can find out about it, I wanted to get your insight. I'm seeing that I'm kind of catching you off guard too. Yeah, it's something that's happening in boxing, and these are things that we have to boxing itself got to fix these problems, and the one thing I always felt boxing had a problem with, it doesn't run on a schedule. You don't fight the next, it's not like basketball. You play the next team, the next schedule. These fights are like, you're giving the option to 2 men to say no. You're giving me an option to say no, you to say no, and me to say I want to take another fight. So when we don't get the fights that we want, some fight fans don't understand that it's not as easy as just get these 2 men inside of the ring. So these are the things that we talk about in boxing and the things that are wrong with boxing. But John, if you have anything else to share about the fight or the way you saw it, or you want to let the fans know certain things about the fighters, this is your time.
I thought it was a close fight. I don't think anyone got robbed. People throw that word around all the time.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
Fights are close. If you can see it. If a lot of people see it for one other guy, look, Roy Jones got robbed in the Olympics. There's not a soul on earth who thought he lost that fight. That's a robbery. You understand?
Right. Shotzi Foster.
Right. But when it's split down the middle, that's not a robbery. That's a rematch. That's a fight that needs a rematch.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
People are saying robbery. They're exaggerating.
No. And I've stressed that. I say, how can you use the word robbery if you yourself are saying it was a close fight? It could have went either way. You can't use that analogy in a close fight. When you see Evander Holyfield getting robbed, Lennox Lewis getting robbed against Evander Holyfield, that was a robbery. Lewis won like almost every round against Evander Holyfield, and they awarded Evander Holyfield the fight. And but it was like when they're talking about these fights, that's a good point that you brought up. It was a close fight, and I would not mind watching that fight again.
For sure.
And then who else does Arthur have? There is a couple big names, but that's the fight to be made. Now you just shocked me when you said you got a text this morning that Ed Hearn doesn't want to do business with Turki Ali-Sheikh. I feel that maybe he's out of frustration. He's down to Frank Warren, like 14 fights. He lost like 14 consecutive fights. Ed Hearn's not doing too good in the fight business, but hopefully, they can work something out. I wouldn't mind seeing this fight again. Look, you're right about it. The fight could have went either way. I'm not upset with the winner. I think that both men, did enough to, merit another rematch for sure.
So I gotta ask John. So John, whether it's Canelo or Benavidez or whoever it is, when's the next? I believe maybe it's 2025 because it's around the corner. When do you see you guys back in the ring, more or less?
I mean, I would guess. We're talking April or May. I would think by his general schedule, I would say April or May.
Okay, and you're hoping it's Benavidez or?
I would like Bivol again. I would think that would, that's a major fight. You don't want. I wouldn't want to waste time. Immediate rematch.
Immediate rematch.
Yeah.
Out of all the fights you've ever seen Arthur in, you think that was the toughest one? Just because, or did you see tougher fights and he ended up knocking the guy out? Just
like stylistically, it was very tough. But people forget, like Gavadzik, for the first, most of the fight was a very tough fight stylistically. Gavadzik was very, very, very good boxer. But Arthur eventually wore him down, and he didn't, he didn't move as much as Dimitri. Dimitri moved a lot and, minimized the punishment as much as he could. Now, that's very smart. I'm not saying negatively, that's smart. But that's why he lost also.
Right. He might have used his legs a little bit too much in the fight, or maybe at some point I thought that, he felt he was up on the cards, but in the 12th round, I saw a different picture. I thought he was actually hurt. I thought he was hurt in the 12th round.
It was around the 7th or the 8th, and then the 12th. There was those 2 rounds where I thought we were going to stop him. I thought Arthur had him. And in the 12th round, I tapped one of the guys on the shoulder next to me. I said, I think we got him. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No, I definitely see where, where you're saying, I believe it was like the 7th round where he almost had him stop too. And like I said, like you said too, man, look, it was a competitive fight. Thinking back at it, like, my man here texted right here. He watched the fight 3 times. He saw it the first time. He saw it a draw, and he saw it 3 other times. And like when you're watching it, you never know what the judges are seeing. You never. You're hoping when as the rounds were finishing. Did you guys think that you were like winning the rounds or like because as a fighter, like when you're boxing, sometimes you don't have time to think about the rounds, but sometimes. You're like, I gotta step it up.
I thought that I honestly had no idea. Like when it was going into the 10th round, just like if I was like a fighter, I would say to myself, I've got to push it because I don't know if we're winning or losing. I have no idea. Most times, like me personally, I had no idea if I was winning fights. Even in fights that I won clearly, I didn't know if I was winning. I had no clue. But for this one, I always feel like somebody said that that Mark Ramsey told Arthur, you need to knock him out, right? And I think he said that before the 11th and the 12th. And people took that to mean that they thought we were losing. And I'm saying, no, they took that to mean it's a close fight and we have to step on the gas because these 2 rounds are up for grabs and they might be the deciding rounds. That I do that anytime we go into the late rounds. I'm going to tell the guy something, either that or something similar, because we want to grab those rounds. Like they're very important.
Yeah.
So when the judges are ready, when the announcer is ready to announce and grab those cards from the judges, what's the feeling with you 4 in the corner? Like, are you feeling nervous and or talking amongst you guys? We got it. We're good. Or is it like, ooh, you're not sure?
I wasn't sure. All things considered, like knowing how judging is. Because sometimes you'll see a fight and you're sure that the fight was 10 rounds to 2. You're sure of it. But I also know that the judges are going to have it 7-5, 6-6. They almost never have it like you think they're going to have it. So I honestly wasn't sure. I do remember distinctly thinking it might be a draw. They might call it a draw. I wouldn't have been surprised if they did.
Wow.
a lot of at the end of the fight before the announcement was made, a lot of the people were saying they felt like it was a draw and stuff. Um, I was like, I, it could have went either way. I was saying both fighters. I was like, no, Demetrius, no, Arthur. I was just, I was on the fence. I really didn't know. You bring up something interesting. You said that sometimes in a fight, you don't, you're not paying attention to the rounds. I remember when I used to box, sometimes I would have to ask my friend afterwards, how'd I do?
Yeah.
Because you don't
Right.
remember in the fight. You're just so hyper focused on the fight, and the guy's like, you did this well, you did this well, and I'm looking at him, I'm like, and I understand that. I understand that as a fighter, and looking at things, you know when you're in the corner and you're obviously looking at Arthur's performance, you can overlook other things. So that's where the uncertainty comes, and it being so close. And with the judges' scoring system nowadays, where that it's not like 20 jabs, it's an effective punching and forward
Right.
aggression. And that's how the judges are viewing the fight. So it's hard to determine sometimes who was winning the rounds. But like we've been saying, one thing for sure, everything we've been talking about tonight does not point towards a robbery.
Right. Yeah. Of course not.
We've been talking tonight, and we've been describing all night a close
Right.
fight. So this narrative of it being a robbery, or there were even some people saying, him being a Muslim, Turkey al Sheikh, and all this other
Right.
stuff. And I was like, no, I don't think that was the
No.
case. I think that the judging was scored right. And the fact that he was Turkey's Muslim, and Arthur is, I don't really think that had anything to do with it. They let the fight be the fight. The winner was the winner, but uh, yeah, I don't think it was a robbery, no sense of it. And I truly, I'm on board with watching this fight again. Um, you know, so yeah, John.
Let me ask.
Thank you for coming on the show. Yeah,
I'm
go ahead.
curious. I've never seen Arthur in an interview, Scully. Is it
Yeah.
that he's opposed to them, or he just, you guys, talk for him, or what's the case? I have never seen Arthur in an interview with no podcast, no platform, nobody.
Right. I mean, Arthur's English is pretty good. We have great conversations, but I think in a relaxed setting where people are just talking, not really like a sportscaster would talk, but just how we're talking. We're just kicking it, right? He
Right,
might
right,
not
right.
understand some of the tone or the words we use. It might be a thing where he's confused at some of the questions, and he would have to keep asking, well, what do you mean by this? What do you mean? uh, you know what I mean?
Right,
So it'd
right.
be it'd be more if you asked him really direct, precise questions, he gets that. But I've seen him sometimes where he'll look at his friend. He has a friend named Beck. He'll look at
Yeah,
Beck like basically saying, what
yeah,
are they
yeah, yeah.
saying? I don't know. And then his friend will interpret for him, telling him what they mean.
Okay,
Right,
okay,
right.
So his
yeah.
English might not be 100% to really do that kind of sit down. Like for him to do your show might be a little difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. But now at least we know
Like
that,
if you
so that
said
we
to
would
him,
just ask some
if you
precise.
said to him, "All right, man, we're just kicking it," right? He'd be like, what is kicking? What do you mean?" Like
Chicken at me.
he
Right,
wouldn't
right,
get
right,
it.
right, 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 right. Right, right. We would have to ask him like Pacific
Right.
boxing. Okay, yes, I get it. But that maybe some time in the future or something, if ever, you could show him this interview. We would love to have him on. I always like to interview fighters and always show them their respect, because I don't have a horse in the race. I cover boxing, and I give all fighters their flowers and their respect, as men. They lace it up and go in this ring and give us these fighting moments, these ooh moments, for us to enjoy. Boxing has given me so many moments throughout the years in the living room with my family and stuff, and my dad and us, either in the gym, out of the gym, directly with boxing. So and the correlation's been in my family for forever. So it's a sport that I truly love and I enjoy. So I would always love to have a fighter such as Arthur on the show, and I ask him direct questions, to but it was good to get the fighter's name out there and to get him into a different fan base and a different set of eyes so that they can get to come to know him as well. And it's been a privilege. Iceman John Sally, thank you for your insight and anything. If there's anything else you want to, like, let the world know about anything, please feel free.
Right. Well, I guess I could throw it out there. I raise money for fighters in need. Guys like Gerald McClellan, Wilfred Benitez, Pritchard Cologne. Those are my three main guys. If anybody's interested ever in helping with a donation or anything like that, you can contact me on Facebook. I'm on Iceman John Scully on Facebook, or John the Iceman Scully. It's two different pages. If anybody ever wanted to make a donation, you could reach out to me, and I could either give you the direct address, to give, send them directly, or sometimes for some reason people send me the money and I send it. I don't know, but either way, if anybody was interested, they could contact me.
That's big, man. That's big that you look out for the fighters and try to help out fighters. All those men that you name were legends and stuff. And I appreciate your contribution to boxing, your insight, coming on the show, taking out of your busy schedule. I appreciate all that. I hope to talk to you more in the future. I would always love for you to come on the show, chop it up with me and Camachito, and always, talk boxing, and if you ever wanted to come on and talk about any of your other guys or anything, or to share things, what I'm saying, you could hit him up or hit me up on Round One Sports Talk on Facebook and YouTube, of course. And we would always love to have
I
you on,
appreciate it.
and come on and share your insight and what you saw and your experience in the fight, man. And thank you. Thank you for coming on and taking out from your day. Camachito, if you have
Yeah, I
anything to
just want
add.
to thank my man John Scully for doing this because he doesn't do too many
Yeah.
interviews. So when he said, "Yeah," I was psyched because you don't see Scully too much
Hey, three
on
Wister
any
guys. Three Wister guys here. You know what I mean?
So I was like, "Yeah,
He must have felt the vibe. He must have felt the
yeah,
vibe. He was like, I'm
Scully's
at home.
coming on."
You
So
know?
I'm just feeling good that we got him on, and hopefully, we'll keep doing this down the line.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All righty.
Thank you very much. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for everyone tuning in. Please smash that like button. And like always, um, um, John, can you say one more time the site for them for the donation?
Well, they
Just one
can
more time.
contact me at my Facebook page, which is Iceman John Scully or John the Iceman Scully. There's two different pages.
Thank. Yep. Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to
And
make sure that
we
they
will
had that.
also add that to the descriptions on the platforms.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, you will. Thank you, my man John Skelly. Thank you for everyone to tune in. I'm gonna stay on right now. I'm gonna stay on. So I'll just peace
All
out,
right.
John.
John.
One. All right, Camachito, I'm gonna stay on for the fight.
Yeah, do your thing,
I'm
bro.
gonna talk to
I just want to let everybody know that hopefully our two next interviews will be the Cedeno brothers, the Dominican brothers who are up and coming that signed with BoxLab Promotions, and of course Top Rank Zone Rohan Polanco. So stay tuned. We'll let everybody know when we get those gentlemen on.
That's what's up, Camachito. Yo, Camachito, you are the man. You guys know where you can find them at Shows in One Productions on Facebook and on Instagram as well, right?
Yes, sir.
On the Instagram as well. So Camachito, thank you. And you are the man. It's always a pleasure. I love chopping it up with you. Thank you for having John Scully come on and share some light about the fight and how he saw the fight. I thought it was very interesting too, and a lot of the points we brought up, man, that speaks to no robbery. It was
Yeah,
a very
yeah,
competitive
absolutely.
fight.
And listen, I guarantee you that if it's with him, we'll have better be Ivan. I'll keep
Right.
working that, and we'll have him on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, no. I would also love him to come on and talk about other boxing stuff too. It doesn't always have to be about Arthur or anything. We can talk about just all matches or anything like that. But it's also good to have like a trainer's insight on how he sees the fighters. And I think it's important to share with the viewers too. So, we could also, work out something in the future. But yeah, I enjoyed having him on. It was kind of sudden. I got home, so I had to get back into my boxing mind. I'm just like a little overwhelmed by him having coming on. I gotta honestly tell you. So like a little bit nervous. But
All
yeah,
right,
man,
do your
with every
thing.
interview
I'm
we get
out.
better.
Peace.
Absolutely.
One love.
Yep.
I
All right, brother. Oh, fight fans, what's